And sometimes it just takes doing 10 things and then making one thing work.
Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast today. I am joined by a very special guest. All my guests are special, but I'm really excited to talk to this one because she's been on my docket, I guess you could say, for a little while. And I'm excited to link up with her. I just chatted with her on her podcast, and now we're switching gears and chatting over here about mommy life and about her entrepreneur journey. So welcome to the podcast, Amy. How do you say your last name?
Huang.
Hoang. Okay, I just didn't want to say it wrong, and that's how I would have said it, but thank you for clarifying.
No worries. That's okay. That's actually my marriage name. So my maiden name is Tran, which is a lot easier to pronounce. So
Yes.
now I'm trying to put that back into my name. And maybe for the people who can't pronounce Huang, they can say Tran.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, I'm excited to have you here. So the reason Amy and I met is because Amy is a super, super successful seller on Amazon, which I don't know, you guys, if you've ever listened to an episode of mine, I've only talked about Amazon about 1 billion times. So you know that it lights my fire. You know I get excited when I talk about Amazon. So to find a fellow seller who's having major success over on Amazon, we got linked up by one of my Amazon students that I had last year who said we really needed to meet, and I'm so glad that we did. So I want to share not only your mommy stuff, but your business journey to kind of expose people even more to the world of Amazon, the deep, dark underside of what we do. So
There is a lot of deep and a lot of dark, but
but a lot of bright, beautiful things too, right?
yes, absolutely.
So tell everybody how many kids you have, ages, everything.
So I have one kid. I'm sort of a new mommy. He's 10 months, actually. He's going to be 10 months in next week. And he's
So
the love of
good.
my life. I think my world just changed when I had him because when I was pregnant, I actually was still in school and I was doing Amazon, so I was hustling a lot. And then when I got pregnant with him, I had a goal. I was like, okay, I'm going to make $10,000 a month on Amazon so that I don't have to go back to work.
Mhm.
And I met that goal after he was born, about 3 months after, because that's also when my maternity leave ended.
It's
So
amazing.
yes, I was just like, it's amazing how if you put your mind to something,
Mhm.
it actually happens. So I was like, okay, I guess now that, we have this income coming in, I told my husband, I'm like, should I go back to work? And he was like, no, you should go home. You should continue, growing our business because my husband and I, we kind of tag team on this Amazon business.
Mhm.
And we're like, we have to start growing it so that, we can start doing other things that we love, like traveling. And Amazon is so awesome because it's something that we can do if we, all we need is a laptop and internet. We
Yeah.
can work anywhere in the world. So now we're growing it, and it's sort of become a second baby to me because I'm also looking into teaching it, and I just see so many women that they want to work from home, and this is something they can do. And starting doesn't matter where you start out, whether it's eBay or Etsy or other platforms. Amazon is another great place to add on to your list.
Mhm. I love that you said that because we have a lot of people. We shut our course down last fall, and we've had a lot of people coming out of nowhere wanting to learn Amazon. And I'm like, oh my gosh, fine. We'll teach again. We'll do something. But where my husband wants to focus is on like sourcing, private labeling in general that can apply to all of those things that you said. Because there are multiple ways to do it. Amazon just happens to be our favorite and the most profitable. So tell everybody a little bit about like what a day in the life looks like for you.
So a mommy life, I don't have a day in a life. I have a week in a life. So I start out, this actually started out when I actually had Amazon on autopilot. So during the week, my son, we actually have him. We're very lucky because we have both of our parents in around the area.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
Yeah, so it's awesome. Actually, my husband's parents, my in-laws, they travel a lot, so my mom is watching him full time. But when they're in town, they actually watches him during the weekend, and my mom watches him from Monday to Friday. So I would drop him off on Monday, and we have the luxury of having him overnight at the grandparents.
Nice.
So yeah, so on Mondays, I get my content creation. I started looking for more products. That's when I kind of focus on my Amazon business to
Mm-hmm.
grow it. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, I usually do phone calls, client calls, and work on the Facebook group and my website. Wednesday, sort of like my open day. So
Mm-hmm.
I might be packaging or looking for when interacting with my agent to make sure everything is going well. And then Friday, I have another call, but then I sort of try to end everything by 3 o'clock so
Mm-hmm.
that we can have our son back at home. He doesn't stay the whole week. He stays every other night, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty nice.
Yeah, you get to
I know.
sleep.
Yeah, we're lucky, I have to say. So
Yeah.
I don't have a typical day. I don't have an 8 to 9 to 5 job, but I try to plan out my week so that I can kind of get everything done and make sure I check off everything on my list.
That's so nice. I am very jealous. I'm sure everybody listening right now is very jealous. But it's so, and I'm glad you kind of explained a week in the life because I don't know. Maybe sometimes I'm a little bit too generous with saying like that it's something you don't have to hardly work on because the level that you're doing Amazon right now and teaching, like doing online education and everything like that and nurturing like a group on Facebook, it does require a lot more than just like pick a product, put it in, go to sleep, you're good. Like that hustle is what is making you 10,000 plus. Like I know you're making more than that now. Is making you so much more money than probably most people who just kind of treat it like a side hustle. It's cool how it's like your central focus and it is your business. Like it's very, very cool. And you've definitely
Yeah.
got the entrepreneur hustle that you need to continue to be successful with it.
Yeah, and I think it's just important to diversify also. And I know not everyone can teach online or have a podcast or but you have to also always think about trying to diversify because
Mm-hmm.
Amazon is a great place to get started, but it's not the end all be all and it shouldn't be because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
When they're going to
So you
change
always
the rules or
yep,
yeah. Yep.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of my husband and I have done the same thing where we're like, okay, this is bringing in a really good amount of money, but it just hasn't ever felt like it can be, like you said, the end all be all. It's not the only income stream, which is actually kind of why we started education, both to help other people learn it, but also to kind of diversify our income. And we talked on your podcast about how that was like a win-lose situation.
yeah.
But it's cool that you're doing, and I feel like you're so smart and you're so
Oh, thank you.
you're so focused, and I feel like you're doing it even better than I did it when we started because you are following kind of the rules, and I think I'm a rule breaker, and I was just like, man, we're just gonna like blah throw it out there, which has always been my personality. And if we had been a little bit more consistent and a little bit more attentive, I feel like we'd probably be making who knows like 50,000 a month by now with our Amazon stuff. We've been doing it long enough that we could. We'll get there. We're getting there.
I would love to say that I'm focused, but honestly, I'm far from. And that should be my word of the year, focused, because I'm almost like a squirrel. I'm like, oh, okay, I want to do a podcast today.
That's because you're an
Oh,
entrepreneur. That's just
yeah.
that's the drug of the entrepreneur is sidetracked moments.
Yeah, but when I feel like when we're doing something that we love and it feels like it's work, but it's not really.
Hmm.
It's work, but it doesn't feel like. I guess I got that wrong.
Yeah,
But I would be in on this for 5 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been working for this long, but it doesn't feel like it.
because it's fun.
So yeah, like product research, like my eyes would be burning out at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still looking for more products. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it's true. I've been there many, many times. I love those nights. They're frustrating and they're exciting all at the same time. And that's why even when we've had like Amazon students who are like, I just can't find anything. And I'm like, how many hours have you actually spent looking? Like, how many nights have you gone to bed defeated to keep doing it again the next day to find something that's actually going to work for you? Because it's hard. That's the hardest part is product research. Do you agree?
I
Like, do you
agree.
think that's the
I
hardest thing?
Yeah, I totally agree with you because our first product we didn't do any research and it flopped. It was our dud product, and so anyone coming in, I highly recommend getting a software to help you look for product, whether it be Jungle Scout or FBA Toolkit or anything. Just or do your own due diligence to make sure that the product has demand. And now with Amazon's term of service, you want to go into something with low competition, meaning very low reviews too.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my advice. If you coming in, don't take the product research lightly, because that will make or break your business.
It really, really will. And I know it's not the fun part. It's really not the fun part, but it pays. It pays in dividends, like when you do, like you just said. It's totally worth the effort. And I'm really glad that you admit and tell people that your first product was a dud, because I think a lot of people expect people who are successful with it to have just been really smart and had instant success. And I just did a conference and I was part of a book called Success Through Failure. And I feel like I'm starting to see that more and more through life. Like, you literally do have to fail to succeed, because if you succeeded right away, you might not even know what you did right to be able to duplicate it. You know what I mean? Like, if you just happen to find like a perfect product and really didn't do the work and you tried to duplicate that and you had all the confidence in the world, you really might have your second product flop, which could be a lot worse than your first one. Don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. And because my first product, we jumped in the game and we kind of listened. We had some podcasts and we were reading some blogs, but we really didn't do any research on it. And we learned a lot. Even though I said it failed, I feel like it kind of helped us in our business. So later on, we looked back and we're like, okay, what did we do wrong? What can we improve? And it's sort of a process that we invented to find our next product that actually worked, because we didn't follow the formula, because there's so many, things out there and it's a lot of information, but you kind of have to just find something that works for you. And for us, it was something that is quick, that had really high demand, which is why we went to Aliexpress instead of Alibaba, because we can get the products in really quickly and then turn it around in a small amount of time. And again, repeat it if it works. And if it doesn't work, we didn't spend that much money. So we at least slash the price and get our money back. So it's something that works for other people might not work for you. So you can jump into Amazon and maybe you find that private labeling doesn't work for you, then do wholesaling or retail arb. So there's not just one formula that you have to follow.
Yeah, I love that you shared that and that you explained that, because it's true. And I feel like I've tried to explain a lot of this to a lot of people, and even just sharing here on the podcast, like, it's probably a daily thing for you too. Like, so what do you do? And it's almost like comical when you're like, I sell things on Amazon. And people are like, huh? You make money doing that? And I'm like, I make a lot of money doing that, and I never have to leave.
Yeah,
I'm basically a shut-in. It's weird. Yeah. No, it is. It's funny and it's weird, but it's really, really exciting. And I think it's cool that you guys kind of created your own formula based around what didn't work. And I also really love that we both started using Aliexpress, because I told you that on your podcast. That's how Ben and my husband and I got started. It was really just like, yeah, right, this is probably not going to work. Let's just order 50 of them and see how it goes. And we were shocked. We were totally shocked that it worked that easily or that well. And so I think that's a really smart route to go. And that's kind of where we have a lot of our people go in the beginning, because the investment is lower. Yeah, you're paying more per product, but you don't have to buy 500. You don't have to buy 1,000. And your risk is just so tiny compared to, you said this on your podcast, it's like ordering a sample on Alibaba would cost you as much as buying a small amount of inventory on AliExpress. So it's like,
yes,
you might as well start making something, even if it's barely kind of getting you ahead. It's just great. It's a buildable business. You don't have to have one product making you $5,000 a month right away. You can start and really scale it. I love that part of Amazon.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you that if I tell people I'm doing Amazon, they're like, what? You sell on Amazon for a living? I'm like, yes. And I think that's why not everybody, this is not for everyone, because, we're probably the 1 or 2% that actually made it through and through, the ups and the downs, and we're still doing it. So it's absolutely, I think it's okay too, that some people don't get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't have people kind of doing the things that needs to be done out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing with Aliexpress, again, we both are in the same, we have the same mindset of buying from Aliexpress. But then I hear people ask me, why not like DH Gate or other like Thomas Net, I'm like, yeah, perfect. That's fine too. AliExpress is just the another platform, a sister website of Alibaba that we prefer. But if you guys find something from another website that kind of turns profit the same, I say, why not go for it?
Yeah. We just tell people AliExpress is like the Amazon version of Alibaba.
Yeah.
Quicker, cheaper, faster. Yeah, it's really great. But yeah, it's a great way to start. And you know what makes me so excited to have you on here is because I feel like I've been standing alone in the middle of like Times Square trying to shout to everybody, Amazon is awesome. You should do Amazon. And now I finally have like another person on here who can testify to how incredible it is and how fun it is and how possible it
Yes.
is. Because I can't even count on all my fingers and toes how many women have come to me since starting this podcast. Like, how could I make extra money? Like, I really want to supplement. I really don't want to have to go back to work after I have a baby. And I'm like, you should start here. You can start very, very small, and it could in a year become something greater than you ever thought, probably more than what you're making right now. And it's just awesome to have kind of more proof in the pudding, like more people.
Oh, yeah. I'll be here cheerleading for you all you want.
Well, and I love too, the reason like that you came, that Elizabeth connected us is because you started a woman sellers group. You have your woman sellers podcast, and you're really just bringing that like strength in numbers to give the confidence to women who, because I've had a lot of women want to take my course and they're like, but can I do it myself? Like, am I smart enough to do it myself? And I'm like, you absolutely are. It's literally like a brain dump of ours to yours. And all you have to do is consume the information and go and do it. So I think it's cool though, because that's a necessary component in success is having that mastermind principle, having those multiple brains working together, helping each other out, encouraging each other when you maybe do have a product that flops. So I think it's cool that you've done that.
Yeah, I love you use the word brain dump, but because everyone in that group, in the women sellers group, they're just so supportive of each other. We have people posting pictures that they're working outside, and it's just an encouragement to see that, and so that other people can pick that up and be like, oh, maybe I can do that one day. And because I feel like in many of those groups, those Amazon groups, it's very male dominated, and women's just kind of afraid, or they're intimidated, or they just don't want to speak up, even though they have really good questions, or they might be doing like 50,000 a month and they're still intimidated. I'm like, why?
You're doing really well.
Yeah, you're just as good as them. But now that we have this community, people just just talking. They're speaking up freely. They don't mind saying certain things, and sometimes it might be mommy related or woman related, and I think everybody just can kind of relate with each other because of this community.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, for that very reason alone, too, it's great that you've created a community where it's safe because, like, I don't know, we could go
It's
into that
zone.
we could go into that for hours and hours. But I do agree with you. I've been part of, like, the different Facebook groups, and they are very male-dominated. So it's cool to have kind of like a girl power group, which is really fun.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I actually posted something one time. It's just my results, and I had people questioning me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I won't do this anymore.
In the regular
just,
groups, not in
the
yours?
regular group, yeah, not in mine. But then I have some people who are like doubting, and of course, they're guys.
Yeah.
No offense to the guys, we love you. And
Aw.
I can't do this without my husband. I have to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
He kind of had my back for a very long time, and because I didn't come from a very entrepreneurial background.
Me neither.
So
It's
yeah,
very weird.
I know, right?
Where did this come
Now
from?
we're doing this.
Yeah.
So like my parents taught me that I had to go to school, I had to go to college, go work the 9 to 5 for 40 years, and that'd be it. And so when I started this, I think I just broke out of the norm and surprised them.
Yeah.
And so now that we're in the stage where we can say we're quote unquote successful, they're like, okay, I guess this is kind of working. But I feel like I consistently have to prove to them that this is going to work.
Yeah.
So, but my husband, he's sort of like a serial entrepreneur. He's been doing this. He started out with real estate. And then he jumped in. He's a software engineer by day, and then he went into. He actually have a football league, and then we also have a dog vacay like sort of like a dog boarding business
Oh
at
my
home.
gosh, I love
So
this.
we're into all of these little side hustles. And then because a lot of people just don't know what to do, I'm like, just pick something and you can do it all. And if something doesn't work, fine. If something does work, you have yourself something good going on here. And sometimes it just takes doing 10 things and then making one thing work. And for us, it was Amazon. And uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you for
So,
saying that. You just summed up 2016 for me.
yay. Yeah,
I,
I tried blogging. I tried, what else other thing? I mean, retail art, but that's kind of Amazon, but it's a different story. But I tried everything, and then Amazon just worked.
yeah.
So
That's the magic. And I said this on your podcast, it's totally magical. Once it works, you're just like, oh, wow, this is amazing. This is a whole new world. Why have I been busting my butt over here? And that's kind of how like our concierge program was born. Is I have all these friends who do blog, who work really, really hard, and they don't make that much money. Some of them are making really great money, and others are just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I don't even know why I'm doing this. And at the same time, they were building their blogs and trying to build it into more substantial income. I'm over here doing Amazon, and it just felt like we were in totally different camps. And then all of a sudden, like the lightning bolt went off in my husband's head and my head, and we were just like, what if they could do what we do? Because they would have bigger results because they've already spent years building these audiences and building these email lists. And it was just really cool to see happen. But really, like, and I told you this on your podcast, that wouldn't have happened had I not been doing something else. If I wouldn't have had a podcast going at the same time, if we wouldn't have had Amazon going at the same time, like all these different components became this giant machine that we're like, oh, okay, it's good that we did 10 things and maybe it was embarrassing for a while, but it's awesome now.
yeah, when things align, it's just like a light bulb and magic happens.
It really is.
And you'll never go back. I don't think
No.
I'd ever go back to my 9 to 5.
Why would you? It literally makes me physically ill to think of like my husband having to go back to a job. Like, I don't even know what that would look like anymore. I don't know how we functioned that way for a while because we're both just home all the time. And it's crazy. I remember like the first month that we made as much money independently from Amazon and like our course and stuff that he made at his job. And it was like, it feels like we're breaking all the rules, but it's a really cool thing. Like it's really exciting to be independent. It beginning feels scary because you don't have that consistent income. You don't have that dependability. But now I'm realizing this is so much more dependable because we have multiple streams of income than a job ever was because we've been through the ringer when his company closed 8 years ago and he lost a job. Like that's not dependable. You never know.
Yeah.
There's no job security. There's really no such thing. So
No such thing. You make your own job security.
yes.
And I love that you said in the beginning it really is scary. And for some people, you don't have to quit your job. Please don't. If you just
No.
started out, don't. Some people have just a goal of making a couple $100s or a couple $1,000s just to pay their bills, and then they just can't believe it when they're actually making their salary on Amazon. But it just starts really small. And I always tell people, like, don't try to compare yourself with other people too. I mean, we're here and it's easy for us to talk about it now because we're here.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, yeah, it was really scary. And the thing is that it's scary is just not that, we had to put up so much money that to start it, but it's just not knowing, if this is going to succeed or how other people are going to perceive of us. But now that I'm looking back, I'm like, I don't really care what other people think.
Exactly. Let them think what they want to think. It's fine. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely comes. You grow thicker skin and you just become so much more confident when you actually know that you know what you're talking about. So it does become easier to say you don't care what people think. In the beginning, it's really hard. Like you said, you're constantly kind of trying to prove to your parents. I feel like I do the exact same thing. Like, and not because I feel like I have something to prove. I just, in the beginning, didn't ever want them to worry about us. I didn't want them to think that we were tanking our future or like any potential that we had. I wanted them to see the vision that I had for our future. And now they not that they just finally saw it, but over the last few months, they've kind of like, they've totally caught the vision, So it's really exciting to be able to have people. I've said this somewhere that a friend of mine told me, when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it's like you're chasing an invisible chicken that only you can see, and people looking, or a rabbit, people looking out the window might see you just running in circles, and like it makes no sense. Like, what is she doing? And then you finally catch the rabbit, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it. So you're running in circles, you're running all over the place, and then when it finally happens, yeah, it's easy to see.
Yeah, and it's good to surround yourself with the same type of people too, like-minded people, because it just makes it easier. And the days where you're kind of down and you're kind of doubting this, it's good to have people who you can connect with and have like-minded to share thoughts and information.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when I was doing this in the middle of doing this, when I was during my down days, I'm like, what if it's becoming too saturated? All these people are coming in.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's billions of people in the
Oh
world.
my
So
gosh. Yeah.
we're surrounding ourselves with, a very small percentage of the population. So we feel like, there's a lot of people jumping in and competition is arising, but it really isn't the case. Like, to be honest, if you take a look at the amount of people, if you just talk to a stranger right now, I can guarantee you that they're like, what is you sell on Amazon?
Yeah. Or anything, any of these businesses that we feel like are
Yeah.
saturated. When you're in the middle of the world that you're in, it feels like everybody's doing it. And that's not true. Like, it's just because your circle kind of got smaller, but the world is still way bigger than your little circle.
Yeah.
So,
Most people are still working.
yeah, most people will
9 to 5.
never, ever even take the first step. They will never even become aware. And like, that's having the abundance mentality. It's not that like, I don't want people to find out because then there won't be as much for me. It's like, really, if more people could realize their potential in any facet of the way the world is headed with online business, with the capacity to make money without having to be a doctor or lawyer, it would really be better for us all. Like, if we didn't have to have welfare systems, if everybody had more, then we would function at such a greater level. So I just try and like picture utopia instead of like picturing the fallout that would happen if every single person on planet Earth decided to sell on Amazon. They would just have to create more ways, right? Like there would just have to
Yes.
be more things.
I totally agree. And you know what? I came from a pharmacy background. So I went to school, I did the whole 9 yard, racked up a ton of student loans, and now I'm doing business. I'm like, I don't want to go back. I mean, I would still work just to keep my license active, but this is the future, I think. And especially for the millennials, we're shifting toward from the 9 to 5, 40 years type of work to creating our own job. I say job, but it's more like a hobby to us now. But we're still generating income so that we can do more of the things that we love.
Yeah.
So I love everything about it. But we're kind of preaching to the choir here.
I know. We're like, we needed to become friends about a year ago, so I'm glad we're friends
Yes.
now. Because I
Yes.
think it's going to be a beautiful relationship. I'm excited. Amy and I talked on her podcast about how we're going to have to go to China together in October. Because my husband is going in the spring, and she's putting together a group of women going to China. I'll probably still have to bring my husband, because let's face it, I would be
Do
terrified
it. My
without
husband
him.
is coming too.
Okay, good. So that'll be really fun. That'll probably be the first time we meet in real life. Where are you living right now, by the way?
I'm in Maryland,
Oh my
close to DC.
gosh, you're so far away.
Yeah, I know. You're in Utah. I mean, I
Yeah.
do go to the West Coast once in a while because I have family in California,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes I would do a little West Coast tour thing. So
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll be able to meet up over there.
I'm thinking likely though, our first time meeting will probably be in China, which I think is
I
really,
think so
really
too.
exciting. We've only got like 8 months or so, 7 months. That's fine. We'll get a lot
Yeah,
done before then. It'll be really fun.
I know. A lot of preparation, but I'm
Yeah,
excited for it.
me too. Well, I really appreciate you taking time to come on here and chat with me. And I ask all of my guests this. I know we focus more on the business aspect than on the mommy aspect, but I think what you're doing in your business is contributing to you being able to be the mom that you want to be to your son. So, what makes you a marvelous mom?
So besides wearing like 1,000 hats a day, I, I think what makes me a marvelous mom is that I never lose sight of what's ahead. So although there's been times where I second guess myself, I always go back to my reason, which is my son. And I believe that if you have a strong enough reason for anything that you want to do, you will accomplish it no matter what. I was pregnant while I was doing Amazon. I was packing things at 7 months pregnant. So if I can do it, like anyone can do it. So my reason for going through, pharmacy school, being pregnant, and business, I know that I'll be continue doing it. And he's kind of what's getting me going right now. So no matter what type of curveballs life throws at you, just remember that, you have to have that strong reason to get you through and to get you to push forward.
I love that so much. I'm glad you said push forward. I have really enjoyed talking to you, Amy. I think you're amazing, and I know people are going to probably want to hear more from you. So go check her out. Give them your website address so they can go and listen to your podcast and check out everything that you're doing.
The website is www.womansellers.com.
Awesome. Okay, go check her out, guys. And now that you can maybe believe me a little bit more about how awesome Amazon is, I'll let you know as soon as we've dropped that workshop, and we will chat soon. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody. Please tell me I'm not the only one who doesn't enjoy spending hours at the makeup counter or even on the makeup aisles at Target. If you are like me and you struggle and you feel like makeup should be fun and not stressful and overwhelming, then you need to check out Mascara Beauty. I am obviously a huge advocate for mascara. It's one of my favorite companies in the entire world. It's my favorite makeup line, and it has saved my life. I can do my makeup while I'm in the line for carpool. I can do it in under 5 minutes. So if you want to learn more about mascara, go to marvelousmascara.com to check it out.